You're on.
Okay. Good morning. It's Monday, October 18th, Tufton Borough Board of Selectmen's meeting. Let's begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll start with public input. I have none. Okay, next we'll do review and approval of minutes, regular meeting minutes of Monday, October 4th. I didn't see any issues or corrections.
I make a motion we accept those minutes as written.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And then the non-public minutes also from the 4th.
Seems good to me. Go ahead, Chip.
I only had a question.
Oh,
Yep.
I don't remember meeting with this person.
No, I met with her.
Okay.
Yeah.
that's what it
Oh,
says.
I'm sorry, that's what it says.
It's in English there, Chip.
I'm working on that language as we speak.
Good.
So I'll move for, we approve the minutes as written.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you for the clarification, Guy.
You're welcome. Anytime I can be of assistance, Chip.
All right.
If you need any more 908, they got a full length of it too, I found.
Huh.
Oh, no, I'm done.
Okay.
The last window.
Okay. So the first appointment is not here yet, I see.
Okay, good.
So let's go to the signature file while we're waiting.
Sure.
Oh, it's a biggie.
Yep, it is. Okay,
Brief.
first is a letter to get the town's domain changed from .com, I guess it is, to .gov.
I think we're org right now.
.org
Yes.
to .gov.
Correct, correct.
And we had previously approved doing that. This is just a letter for me to sign. I don't think we need a further motion.
Yeah, probably, yeah, we already did that. didn't
We did, yeah. All right. Next is the annual assessing services contract with RB Woods and Associate. And this is for the period January 1, 2022 to December 31, 2026. So this is an annual rate of $39.96 in 22, 41, 146 in 23, and so forth, up to,
I think it was a 3.5, I figured it out the other day, I think it's 3.5% a year increase. So I'll make a motion, we sign that.
I'll second that.
and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Put the signature page on the front. And then we have a yield tax levy that we signed, I think it was last time, and we missed the second sheet. So we already voted to do that, we just didn't sign both places. Next, we have land use change tax for I'm not finding the parcel on, no, it's 55-3-3. And this is taking 1.6 area, 1.6 acres out of current use. This is part of a development up on Federal Corner Road. I'll entertain a motion to,
And that was the one that was approved by the assessor? 'Cause there was one in there that you wanted us to deny. Yeah, lots of information about it. Doesn't look like the one.
no. Didn't say anything about denial in here. All right, so I'll entertain a motion to approve this one.
I'll make a motion that we approve them.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Good morning, Jim.
Good morning, how are you?
Great. And then we have one for 27-1-7, that is removing 1.83 acres of a 35-acre parcel from current use. I'll entertain a motion on that as well. This is not.
You got something going on with your chip, something fell out or what, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I don't know what this, it's an extra.
Well, it may be a different. No, it's yeah,
Attached to this.
it was attached to that. Yeah.
Okay. I'll make a motion, we approve this one here, the 1.83 acres.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
I should have worn my t-shirt there, guy.
Yes?
It says needs direction.
I thought it would be intuitively obvious to the most casual observer, but then again,
Yeah. Sometimes.
sometimes you need to prod it a little bit. However, acknowledging the problem is the first step.
Yeah.
First step to recovery.
Yeah.
So then the next one is the, this is an abatement application, okay, for land use change tax, and our assessor has recommended that we deny the abatement request based upon his analysis. And it's fairly detailed. So I'll entertain a motion to,
Well, I spent a good deal of time
yeah,
reading that, and I'm gonna make a motion that we deny the abatement.
okay?
I'll second that.
All those in favor of the denial?
Aye.
Opposed? This goes on the top of that. This is all part of that, and then we'll deal with bear with us just a couple of minutes.
Yeah, yeah, no
We'll be through
problem.
this. On we go. Okay, next we have a medical coverage with Health Trust for 2022. So with a single plan at 804.10, two people at 1608.20, and a family at $2,171.07.
I've got the health trust information here. You want to wait on that? We'll
Sure.
do it all at once.
Yep. Yep, good idea. All right. So we've got an administrative abatement in the amount of $11,625, and this is for New Hampshire Electric Co-op, and this is per the settlement agreement that we did with them in 2019.
I'll make a motion that we sign that abatement.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We've got a right of burial for Mickey and Shirley Benson for the Town Hall Cemetery.
I'll make a motion that we sign that right of burial.
I will second the motion for the right of burial in the townhouse cemetery.
Is it the wrong cemetery?
It is the townhouse cemetery, that's all I'm saying. The sign right out there says so. I've had this argument with the cemetery trustees. We do not have a town hall, we have a townhouse and we have town offices. Period.
Right.
So
However, everything that does the sign say townhouse?
Yes, it does.
Okay, because at any rate,
We also have Lang's Pond Road.
yeah,
It should be Lang's Pond.
yeah, all right. Well, because everything I've ever seen referred to it as Town Hall Cemetery, so I don't know why.
Maybe you should observe more closely.
Perhaps. All
would
right.
you- do you want it changed?
I do not want to change that document. I'm merely stating that it is the townhouse cemetery. We know where they're going.
Yep, all right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed?
Well, I'd be happy to sign on to a missive to the cemetery trustees to correct the name.
I'll certainly report that. I'm meeting with some pushback.
Yeah.
Can't imagine from who.
Yeah, right,
Oh, yes, you can.
yeah. And finally, notice of intent to cut wood or timber for 59-3-7.
I'll make a motion that we sign the intent to cut.
And I'll once again second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Come on down, Jim.
Thank you.
I don't know if you guys need one, I'm just gonna monthly update.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, since last time we met, the roadside mowing has been completed. I thought they did a nice job this year. We've also been checking the culverts, opening up the ends of them with the backhoe, just trying to clean out the sediment before it gets in there. We've also ditched a few areas around town to keep the water off the roads and off the edges. And we've been dealing with beaver problems in 4 different areas in town, and we're doing our best. It's not easy, but they build pretty fast. We try to make a beaver diverter, as seen on TV. Seems like it's helping, so.
What is a diverter like?
Well, I took a couple septic tank risers. I put 3 of them together. They're plastic risers, and they actually have holes that you can put pipes in, 4-inch pipes.
Mm-hmm.
So we put it right up against the screen that we had in front of the culvert, and we just put a handful of pipes sticking out in different directions. So if they put their brush against the screen, the 4-inch pipes still take water in and let it go up the bottom. It seems like it's working, but we'll see how long it lasts before
Yeah.
we figure it out. They are pretty clever.
No doubt.
Yep. The 15-mile-per-hour yellow cautionary signs were put up on Lang Pond near the Narrow Beach section. Stone was added to both sides of the Merrill Lake boat launch. We've been adding gravel to the low road edges around town. The crack sealing on the bridges and large culverts is almost complete. I finished up the last one today. And we'll probably continue on. We'll see how much budget we have. We'll continue on our best roads. We start with the best roads first.
Right.
And the Willand Road project is well underway, with the worst areas now completed, which was the narrow section. It's been widened out on both sides, and the rusted out culvert has been changed out with a plastic ADS culvert and lengthened on both ends. The blind spot coming down the hill has been greatly improved, so it was one of the biggest complaints I had from my plow driver.
Mm-hmm.
2 rain gardens have been added to the bottom of the hill. This will help keep the sediment out of the stream. So that's pretty well in this way.
Any comments or complaints from the residents while you're doing the work?
We've had a positive comment, so that's it so far.
Good. And have you ordered a sign for Two-Peck Lane yet?
Yes, we have.
Good.
Yeah,
all I was-
should be in short then.
Sweet. Great.
And the shim for Canaan, that's on the schedule now, right?
Yes, so we've made the inquiry, and they said they will do their best
Yep.
to fit it in. It's weather pending, is how they put it. Okay, I guess the next thing we want to do is probably talk about the budget.
That's a good idea. I can, let's see. All checking here together. All right.
Oh, the bad thing, I left my copies on the desk. This one.
Tammy,
Yes.
would you run another copy of that for Jim?
You bet.
I apologize for that.
No worry.
Last
If
year's.
that's the worst that happens today, you're having a good
Wait a
day.
minute, I think I just found one.
Sorry.
Oh, no, that is not it. Sorry. Well, I have my handwritten version anyway, so
Yeah.
I have that. And I think the biggest thing is we want to discuss the things that I went up on.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole budget's up 11%, so we need to talk about that.
Yep, and I know that's, I wrote in a couple areas, why, and looking for discussion.
Yep.
Great, thank you, I appreciate that. The biggest one would be the road prep and repair. I put in a placeholder of 25,000, which I know last year we put $1,000 in just to get that line started, because we talked about how we really need to be a year ahead of schedule, getting the prep work done on the roads that we're gonna pave the following year. So, I don't know if you guys still feel the same way about that. It's open for discussion.
So let me kind of wade into this. Several years back, the budget committee took the road prep that was part of the budget and pushed it out of the operating budget into the paving warrant article. And we added that money into the paving article. And that's where it's been the last 5, 6
years.
something years. So, when Lloyd was part of the board, he was pushing always to put it back in the operating budget. It really doesn't matter where it is, other than when you keep moving it around, if you try and look historically at what's going on, things kind of jump up and down without, unless you have all the detail there and remember what happened. It's like, oh yeah, well now, so we took it out of here and we put it over here and then moved over here. So I was an advocate for leaving it as part of the paving article, because it is part, it's not just the paving article, again, for the last number of years, has included money to do the prep work, in addition to what we pay the contractor to actually come in and do the reconstruction and paving work. So I think we put $1,000 in there last year because Lloyd was, he really felt we needed to have a line back in here for that. If we move road prep back into the operating budget, then that's fine, other than now we have this second discontinuity. So
I guess I'm not recommending that so much as I was thinking that this would be a way to get ahead in the future a little bit.
So, and it really shouldn't make any difference from your perspective where the money is, as
Right.
long as we're focused on, we want to get the roads as ready ahead of time as possible, so that any settling that goes on in those areas, we can come back and address before we hot top them.
Yep, and I think that is the biggest thing I was trying to get done. But if it doesn't make sense to put it in this line, then we certainly should just cross that out.
So this would be the first year that it wasn't with the paving budget?
Well, the first year in
Quite some time.
5, 6, 7,
I believe I was on the budget committee at that time,
right.
when we basically eliminated that line and included it into the paving line, so that could do whatever was necessary and not.
Right.
The downside that we found out is when you put it in that line, I don't know if we made the changes correctly or not, but it was always specified to be used on whatever road we were paving. So that we never really had a chance to get ahead by using it on another road for the future paving for the following year. I think that's where we kind of found that we were getting a little bit jammed up a little bit, because we couldn't use it on any other road other than what was mentioned on the warrant article.
I don't recall that the warrant articles were ever specific.
Yeah, I know we had
Yeah,
Sure.
I mean, we
may
generally
have-
talk about, this is where we're planning to do it, but the article is intentionally not real specific, because, for instance, when you did Dane Road the other year, right, if we'd been specific as to what we were gonna do, you wouldn't have been able to do the section that was really bad. Remember, in the spring, it came up that, instead of doing this, we need to do this because this is the piece that's really bad. So that's why we never try not to make the article so specific that it prevents us from putting the,
We can craft.
I think, I don't know if we did that last year. I feel like we might have made some changes a little bit, but I think the reason we got away with it before was we did have money allocated for Dane Road, but it was at the top of Dane and not the middle. But we were
well,
okay to hit that road.
and we can go back and look at the articles. My recollection is that we never specify in the article.
We don't have to be that
The-
specific
the
in crafting
specific
the
road.
warrant article.
Okay.
I mean, we can
We do talk at
Pretty
town
broad
meeting
language.
about, this is the plan for this year, just so people understand it.
Right.
But not with the intent that we lock us into this road and not doing something that might be worse.
All right, I'm going to take you to task just a little bit. If you do attend town meeting on a regular basis, you might understand more about the discussion that goes on at town meeting. Okay?
Understood.
All right.
I'm just not a fan of getting up and having to talk at town meeting.
Well, you might not have to.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
So
is
that's,
it your intention, Chairman, to,
I'm gonna
take this
suggest
out?
that we take that money out
Okay.
and leave it with the paving warrant article.
Okay.
So we'll get rid of that line completely?
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
And then if you...
talk about your other big ones.
Yep, so, summer maintenance is up $5,000 and, winter maintenance is up $15,000. But also, we've added two roads to our maintenance schedule. Farm Pond Development and Willen Road. And I recently found out that salt prices have gone up this year as well. I think prices are starting to climb on multiple things now. And I just don't want to be caught short, especially with the roads and the safety of the roads.
Yeah, it just seems, I mean, historically, you've only gone over 300,000 once. And that was in 2019.
We've been fortunate the last couple of years, I will say that. You know, we've had less storm instances.
I guess my feeling is, we're not gonna withstand an 11% increase, even taking the 25 out. I'll figure it out. We're still way up around 8%. Uh,
671 divided by 624.
7%.
Yeah.
And what do you think the percentage of the roads we added have been? You know, we just added 2 roads. What percentage that would come out to be? Just out of curiosity.
Well, I mean, you had 40 some odd miles and you added 2 miles, 3 miles. So,
We probably don't know.
and you've got one brand new road that you took over, so that's not, the cost
Yeah, we're good deal for a little bit.
is less.
Obviously, we gotta, still plow it, we still gotta mow it,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
sweep it, that kind of stuff.
So, I mean, if we use that rubric, if you will, then if we discontinue a road, then you're gonna reduce your budget.
I'm guessing somebody would ask for that.
I might.
Okay,
So
so,
if we add, if the new amount of road that we're maintaining is 2 miles, and what we used to do is 40, and I'm just,
well, I don't know if it's quite the same ratio, I guess, too. I mean, when you do a dirt road, the maintenance cost is more.
well, I'm just saying, so that's 5%, okay? 5% of the
Okay.
roads.
maybe
So, if we want to work with that as a rationale, let's make sure, I think we ought to make sure that the numbers we're using.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Right.
And I like being able to justify it, and it
Right.
makes sense.
Right,
But we also, the cost of goods are going up.
right, right.
Yeah. I mean, and we can go through the whole thing, but if we were to set a benchmark of, let's say, 5%, which I think is a reasonable increase, you're $25,000 away from that right now.
So I think we also have to consider the tree removal. We're in a different circumstance than I've been in since I've been a road agent. That ash borer is killing hundreds of trees along the roadsides. I went up another 10,000, and I think that's being as minimal as we could probably be. I think we gotta be at that $35,000 mark for the tree removal. And from what I understand, how the ash trees, when they die, oak trees and pine trees, they can stand a long time once they're dead. These ash trees don't. They come down in big chunks. And they're the most dangerous out of all the trees is what I think.
Actually, I've had that discussion with a fellow up on Durgan Road, where the big chunk did come down and pull the wires off the house. He'd kind of like to have the rest of that tree taken down. It's in front of his house, and it's an ash, and it's dead. Imagine that.
They're everywhere around town.
Yeah.
Absolutely every road is, and we've already cut a lot of that.
I know.
I mean, that was one of the first roads we did.
Yep.
We took a lot of ash trees out of there. So I don't know if you guys want to discuss that a little bit more. 10,000, going up $10,000 is
Well,
sufficient? Too much?
and you've spent, what is it, $20,000 of the 25 currently.
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, we still have so much more to do. We're just trying to get him back, and he's promised he will do it this fall. So it's going to be gone. It's not like
Yeah.
there's nothing
I
left
mean,
to
if
do.
you were to go to $30,000 there and $85,000 on your summer maintenance, stay flat there, and bring your road striping, crack sealing, spring maintenance, and fall maintenance back to the numbers that they were.
Well, we gotta kind of discuss this road striping.
Okay.
So we don't know what's going to happen for next year, but we do know that this year we didn't get ahead. We budgeted to do Tuftonboro Neck Road.
Mhm.
We weren't even able to do that because of that factory out in Texas that supposedly froze up, and they're the only.
But it was a lack of product, it wasn't a change of price.
It's a lack of product, but it changed the price. I mean, we're grossly over what.
So we had 11.5 in the budget, we spent 14.4, and we didn't do as many miles of road as we
Planned on.
planned on.
Correct.
So,
I'm still waiting for that number to come back for next year, but if you read the quote, I think it's good for 30 days. I mean, it's just a budgetary number. I
Right.
don't know what it's really gonna be. But I'd like to see that quote before we change that line too much. I think it's something we need to see. Because, what happens when I keep going over on every budget line? We gotta find the money somewhere, it's like-
right,
I'd rather just make sure we do it correctly, I guess, and get that quote in from the line striping company. I don't know where we're at next year at this point. I put kind of a large number in there. But again, it's kind of like a placeholder until we see what the real number is. And even then, we don't really have a guarantee it's gonna be that number. On the crack ceiling, I did go up 2,500, but so did the materials have gone up quite greatly since last year. And, I guess I'd like to do more roads if we were able to.
Right, but we've only impacted that budget by $2,262. That's gonna be a hard one to defend.
so you're doing the crack ceiling right now.
We are.
Correct.
It's complete
So-
with the bridges, but then we usually we move on to roads after we get the
Right.
bridges and large culverts done.
Yeah. So your intent is to use all of what you have this year?
Yes.
And your fall maintenance, the same thing, you went up $2,500.
Yep.
You've always spent 11,700.
I just feel like we got a little bit more road to do than we have, and there's no shortage of work to do around town. It's,
Right. Not sure what
So-
you're working
so
to do
part
on
of
this
what-
budget either.
Yeah. Part of what we're trying,
I know.
part of what we're trying to do is play catch up for stuff that over the years didn't get addressed.
I feel like we're slowly starting to fall behind and, pick up the pace a little bit.
And unfortunately, a piece of what we're dealing with is a pretty healthy inflation rate right now, too.
Mhm. Yeah, because the catch basin cleanings up,
You know.
paintings up. I think the sweeping will be up. Everything's gonna go up on us.
Yeah. Your budget for fuel is flat to this year, but we know that fuel prices are up significantly, so that may catch us.
It may, but I like to keep it at that number because it hasn't yet, and we've
Right.
always discussed
No,
it.
And I'm not suggesting that you
Yeah.
bump it up, it's just one area that we know that the prices are
Very volatile.
up and headed the wrong direction.
Yeah, I mean, I just look at, if you look at a 5-year picture, you're looking at a 63% increase over 5 years, which is significant, given that the last 5 years have had virtually no economic inflation. We've done some big road projects, but most of that's been in the warrant article field. I'm wondering about, honestly,
We were always over the budget
this
before that. though.
budget's gotta be somewhere around $655,000 in my mind. And whether it's tree cutting or road striping or winter maintenance, something's gotta move here, because it's not gonna stay. I'm not prepared to vote for $675,000, which is $670,000, which is eliminate the $25,000 road prep line completely. That still only brings us to $670,000, which I'm having a hard time with, just so you know.
No, it's all understood, and that's why we are discussing it.
I mean, I'm gonna have to be the one that goes and defends this at the budget committee. And I gotta believe in it before I can go, I think. And I'm not.
Do we want to cut back on the road striping? Or do we, I think we kind of need that in numbers, my biggest problem. I'd like to see the physical
Well, when you're talking your road strip, you're doing a center line and
side
sides.
lines. And I don't think anybody really wants to cut that back.
Well, my own personal observation, my driving experience is I prefer to have the sideline because I don't want to drive into the ditch. Generally, I was taught to drive right down the middle of the road in a town road until someone was coming. And and that always worked out pretty well. I never had a head-on collision with anybody. But I don't know, as the what I want to call it, as the population changes, and folks who aren't used to driving on country roads show up, maybe the center line's important. But I know in the fog, especially, which happens on Ledge Hill Road a lot, I'd much rather know where the ditch is.
The problem with no center line,
Mhm.
having lived on Ledge Hill Road
Yeah.
for the better part of my life, is people figure they're free to pass.
Well, the other thing I think is nobody, they
Okay?
go on your side of the road, and they still think that's the center line. They don't know the center line, so they make it up.
Yeah.
As far as the passing goes, I've not seen that deter anyone that wanted to pass. But
I
that's
deter them if they're trying to pass me, I'll
You
take
do.
that.
Okay, so we'll leave the center line in there.
Well, what I remember when we started, several years ago, started doing the striping, and it's, since you were road agent, I believe, that we started doing the striping.
Just
Correct?
shortly after.
Yep, that there was a lot of discussion early on about just doing the sidelines or doing the side in the center. And there was a lot of push to have
Oh.
center lines done.
I really like it. I think it helps me a lot
Yeah.
for maintenance and everything. It's just great. When you're plowing, actually you can tell you where you are because I can actually, when I'm scraping that yellow line, I can look back in my mirror and I can see where I'm at. I know
So let me cut to the
It's showing
chase.
around.
What number do you want to be at,
You
Mr.
looking
Budget
at me?
Committee Rep? Yes.
I mean, ideally, I want to be at about $670,000.
670?
Or, I mean, 655.
655, all right, so we took the 25 out, that gets us to 670.
Right.
Uh,
So there's 25 left.
So you just need to go 15,000 below that, 655 from 670, right?
Yeah.
So we need to find $15,000. So I'm gonna suggest that we take 5,000 out of tree removal, that we take,
Go, hold on, let's write it down.
this is just for discussion,
So
I mean,
this is 30 grand.
we're not gonna know anything absolutely until it happens, okay? But
Right.
we need to have a number that he can support with the budget committee, that we can move forward. And
I agree.
I'm sure there's gonna be lots of discussion out there. And I'm gonna suggest that we take $5,000 out of winter maintenance, make it 310 instead of 315.
Okay.
And,
Summer?
and, well, you know, in spring, fall, and summer, you've put an increase in. And I think that's good, because I do think our costs are gonna be up. So even if we're gonna try and maintain what we're doing, if we don't have a little extra money there, we got a problem. So the other thing, the other area that I'm gonna suggest is put the road striping at 15 rather than 20. And again, these are just,
Okay.
they're just budget numbers for us to work with. That's pulling 5,000 out of 3 different lines. That'll bring it down to 355, or 655.
Let's see.
So, I don't have a crystal ball, and nobody does, right? And we may have a winter like we haven't seen in a long time, and by town meeting, we'll have to do what we did several years ago, which is stand up and say we need to put X amount extra in because winter's been one from hell. But sitting here in the middle of October, it just seems to me that's,
Yeah, and
That's-
I mean, not to, and I know we're being televised or YouTube, but, and I don't want to speak out of turn, but we move money around in this budget all the time. So if we have a big winter, we've got the funds to do that. But also, we decided to do Canaan, the bottom of Canaan Valley. And we had to juggle some numbers
Yep.
around in there. So
Yep.
I don't think it constrains us from doing it, but I think, I appreciate the effort, and I'll back that.
I think those suggestions are well thought.
I agree.
Yes, it's good, that's a good, correct.
and as you have been doing, you know, obviously, the important thing is, as we get into the year and you see things come to the board with your concerns, and in areas where we gotta throw some extra, it's this board's responsibility to make sure that the services that the town needs are provided. And sometimes we gotta squeeze someplace else or find some money someplace else to help deal with this. So I will entertain a motion for,
Do we go line by line, or wonder if Karen can sort through?
I think I got it.
You
But
got it?
You can,
All
just to
right,
double
so-
check me.
So what I'm suggesting is that winter maintenance the selectmen's request be 310,000. Road prep repair, the selectmen's request be 0. Tree removal, the selectmen's request be 30,000. And road striping, the selectmen's request be 15,000, which would give us a total budget, if my math is correct, of $655,700.
The only amendment to that I'd make is to put $100 in the road prep and repair just to keep it alive.
Fine.
So that would bring a total budget of $695,800 for budget 4312.
655,800.
So $10 in that budget?
And $100.
$100, okay.
Yeah, all right,
Just keep it alive.
all right, so I'll entertain a motion to that effect.
I'll move the budget for the road agent on 600, $55,800. That's budget number 4312.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
And I personally appreciate the effort. I really do. Thank you.
Yeah, I thought it went well. We get it done.
Yep.
That's the best part, we get it done.
I'm not done with you yet.
What's that?
I'm not done with you yet.
I was almost out the door.
I'll
Quick
chase
enough.
it.
Sorry, Dennis. I know, right?
We gotta start working on the billing. Because the problem I see with it, and both Guy and I have talked about it, and I've actually talked about it with Phil here, is there's no way of knowing with your billing process, and our accounting for that matter, what things actually cost to do. And God forbid you die in a plane crash, we're not in a position of being able to say, okay, you temporary road agent or you highway department director, this is how it runs, this is how this thing flows. So you're good about the hours, but the materials are separated out. So what I'm proposing is that, and we're not gonna do it here and now, but I'm just telling you what we're proposing, is coming up with a spreadsheet that we can have one of our office people, Jane, construct and actually fill in the numbers so that we both get a report, or we get a report and you get a report on a monthly or bi-monthly basis.
Okay. So like the salt and sand and things like that?
Salt and sand
can
along
come up
with
on
it,
the
you
report.
know, and what equipment is rented and who's it rented from? Is it all of the equipment rented from you, or do you rent from other vendors?
It's a mix, it's a mix.
Right, so you've got some vendor rentals, some
Mountainside
outside
rentals.
rentals.
Some
Yeah.
town equipment's used, however it is, but just
Yep.
really specific accounting.
Right, and it's, the way your bills read, for instance, we'll have roadside maintenance, and it'll be so many hours. I don't know how many men that took, you know, so many hours at what, or was it an hour with 3 guys, so it adds up to 3 hours, or, you see what I'm saying, is, so what is the requirement for staffing? So that if we were to be put in a position of having to staff this program of yours, we'd have enough people. The plowing, you've got some of it done by the 10-wheeler and some of it done by the 6-wheeler, but I know you do some of it with 1-ton trucks. And
Yep, that's
the town-
should be broken out as well.
Yeah, the town doesn't
It is.
own any 1-ton trucks. I don't
Correct.
believe.
Huh?
So, yeah, we just need to get a little more granular so that we can kind of see what's going on. And it also gives us an opportunity to look at what's the trend for per mile, if you will. So when somebody comes in and is gonna add a mile of road to the inventory, what's that really cost us? I mean, you're making some assumptions based on your historical knowledge, but that's all up in your head.
Correct.
It's not in my head.
Yeah.
And I think it needs to be in some kind of black and
So
white,
you need-
so that we can be able to say, okay, they're adding a mile of road, we've added 2 miles of road to the inventory of roads in the town. I'm sitting here with a budget committee. That costs us X number of dollars. That's just to maintain it. And then if we're gonna look forward to repaving or reconstruction at some point in time, that's gonna be another number that's gonna impact warrant articles going up out in the future. So then we get to CIP, you know, where's your warrant article level gonna be in 2030? And they're gonna want that at some point in time. So all I was looking at was trying to figure out how we can get adjustments to your billing a little bit and combine that with material and rental costs so that we actually got a finite number that we're working from going forward. I'm not looking for you to do a lot more bookkeeping, but you're gonna have to make some adjustments to the way you do it just to make it easier for Jane. 'Cause
I think we do break it down as far as trucks and stuff like that, you know the cost that way.
Yeah,
right.
And it's all,
per hour cost.
that's already done.
Right, and I tried to take a bill and make a spreadsheet, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't make the thing work, so it made sense going,
I don't know that I'm,
well, I'm not
In
sure,
that same sense,
I don't
I
want
can't.
you to do it either, but I want to be able to have the information so that we can do it here. I'm not looking for you to try to create a spreadsheet for
Yeah.
me. Okay, just so you know. But-
Okay.
So I don't want a lot of pushback on this. I know you're an elected official, but for all intents and purposes, we have to treat it like a highway department, even though it's not. But we have to be able to look at it from that perspective, from the town's perspective, if you will. So we're not, I mean, if you were a crazy road agent, you'd just say, okay, it's $695,000 or 55.
maintenance.
Maintenance, cut me a check, you know, and I'll see you next year. That's not how we operate, obviously, because you want us to pay the sand bills and the salt bills and the rental charges and all that other stuff. So we're kind of a hybrid, if you will. You know, you've got an independent operation that's operating a little bit like a department. So,
For sure.
anyway, I was just forewarning you on that, that I'm not certain it would happen tomorrow, but it's gonna happen pretty soon, that we're gonna start working on it. I haven't had a chance to sit down with Guy or Bill on the specifics, but it would make my life a lot easier, assuming that I continue to meet with the budget committee. Because you're there, obviously, at the budget meetings. But they're looking for kind of a holistic explanation of things. And why do we have to spend $6.5 million on roads? Well,
Right, and since you are going to present to the budget committee and the selectmen will have our recommendation, and you could actually ask them to approve your initial figure, and they might do it. It's their budget.
that's happened before. And
Yes, and-
it doesn't make for
No.
great relationships.
But the only way you'd be able to do it is to be able to specifically say, look, this is what this works.
Yeah.
And not
Oh,
only
yeah, it makes arguing with me or Bill or.
A lot easier.
But a lot
easier.
easier, you guys as a team, and we all work together.
well,
Right, so we're not always on the same page.
Right. but the more detail you can give, the better off you'll
Yeah,
be.
I'm not trying to go against you guys and get more money. Whatever you guys agree on is what I'm,
You're gonna work toward.
yeah, that's what we're
Yeah.
gonna do.
Yep. So, and, you know, I mean, some of the things in this budget today that we know are probably not gonna adequately address is the ash borer tree removal thing.
And there may be some money out there for that.
Yeah,
There is in other areas, like Maine has a little
Oh, really?
fund going on, yeah, because
yep,
it's impacting a lot of little towns that don't have big
yep.
resources.
I can understand that.
So,
I mean, it's gotta be a huge number when you think about how many trees have to come out.
yep,
But yeah, you look at them on the sides of the roads, I mean, it's just,
well,
Awful.
Yeah.
so they are.
I spent, I think it was $5,000 to take some ashes, not here, out in the Midwest, for this thing,
Yeah.
4 or 5 years ago. So that's just the ones in my yard. And it was not a lot of trees,
No.
but, you know, it's
A lot
what
of
it
people in
is.
the same boat. as when I was there.
Exactly, yeah, exactly.
That's why I'm old.
Yeah, well,
But they die all the time, you know. it's-
yeah, that's right.
It's full
They
of-
take
That's
a
right.
while to fall.
Did you want
Piece by
Jane to
piece.
have one of those copies, or?
No, I think
Okay.
it was just confusing. 'Cause it confuses me. I'd rather give them a product that both of us can understand and work with, as
Yep.
opposed to just
Yeah.
showing you my rough drafts.
Yep.
Okay,
Okay.
very good.
All right, anything else for the road agent?
I got nothing.
All right, thank you,
Very
Jim.
good. Thank you, guys.
Okay,
So we approved that budget.
we did.
Yes, we did.
Yes,
So that can go off to the budget committee?
yep,
All right.
yep. All right, come on down, Dennis.
be bashful.
So we only got 2 minutes, so I can jump up on my phone.
You got plenty of time.
So that should be-
All the time you need.
All right. Just a quick update before I get into the budget, that's okay?
So what's going on?
What's the difference between eating a Fenway Frank at Fenway Park or a hot dog at Yankee Stadium?
You can't eat a hot dog at Yankee Stadium in October.
You've heard that. It's,
It's on Facebook.
Forget it, I'm not talking about it.
Way to set the tone, guys.
All right, here we go. We had punt, pass, and kick this past Saturday up at Davis Field. The good thing about that, our winners normally move on to the state competition. We're the only town in New Hampshire that ran punt, pass, and kick. So our winners will go to the Nationals.
Wow.
Yeah, so we didn't have a big turnout. The weather was a little iffy. We only had a dozen or so kids, but the event went good. I don't think I spoke to you our yard sale. We had 30 families take part in the yard sale. Cornhole. It's just 2 more weeks and then playoffs. We got 24 adults playing in that. Friday, our new commission member, Joyce Lake, has been a big help. We got a grant into the Meredith Bank. The range was $5,000 to $25,000, and we put a proposal together, kind of crammed it in 2 days, for $25,000 for the bike trail. No one else from Tuftonboro has applied. They like to spread it out a little bit, so I'm not sure we'll get it, but I think we got a good chance. There's 4 other grants we're looking at now. One's due, the next one's due December 1st. Of course, the main goal is if we can get that grant and some of the other ones, we could probably get that thing going in the spring. You know, so we're happy about that. And like I say, she's been a big help to us. CPR AED class is coming up the end of the month, the 26th. We've got 8 people registered for that. This Thursday is our first, I'm so excited, our first time into the Central Schools gym. And we're gonna run 6 weeks of bombardment, dodgeball. And right now it's 6 to 8 o'clock. And right now we're just running grades 4, 5, and 6, so.
No adults?
No adults yet. We're gonna get, I know you wanna get some frustration out, but plus they don't, you know, when you played as a kid, you use those rubber balls, you know, you get hit with those. These are these gator balls, they're like marshmallows, so
Wow.
that's how things have changed. So yeah, we're happy about that. We ordered, we got a great deal, I told you, on these new benches out of Middleton Lumber there. They were kind of a display model, smaller ones, well made. And we got 5 of them, $75 each. So they're gonna be delivering them up to our storage shed up at the transfer station. So we're happy about that. I know the
You're talking
other,
about picnic tables?
yeah, and they're smaller ones, they're not the big ones.
Yeah.
But I mean, the wood is, you can hardly, they're very well made.
Okay.
So we went down, checked them out, he gave us a good deal on them. Zach Tufts is actually taking over a lot of the work that Jim Beam did, both with the swim lines and the docks. And he still hasn't sent the bill, that's why our budget looks like we haven't spent much on dock maintenance. But he's gonna take that over, 20 Mile Bay and the other 2, plus the other work he did. I know you had a concern, guy at the last meeting talked about the outrigger canoes. I spoke with him, they'll be out of there by the end of the month. He's still, again, debating, Bill and I talked about, you know, the boat museum with the kids sailing program, and he wants to do it, but he's not definite yet, so there's nothing in the budget about that, so. The other question I had,
I do have a question about that.
Yeah.
So Carrie's idea for next year would be, this is Carrie Lynch with the Boat
Yeah.
Museum, would be that the sailboat be used only for sailing instruction, not for this sail share program.
yeah,
And that the sailing instruction would be run by the Wolfboro Parks and Rec Department. So, which would mean that we would lease the mooring to the town of Wolfboro rather than the boat museum.
Yeah.
And
Garage.
so,
No, garage.
and I'm not sure why he wants Wolfboro Parks and Rec to be running the.
you're not talking the kids program,
I'm talking the,
the adult,
well, I'm talking the big boat, the keel boat program.
yeah.
Not the, not the
The sunfish guy.
sunfish,
and all that,
right,
yeah.
right. So,
Wolverine, yeah,
and
all right.
I haven't had an opportunity to talk with him about that. Is this, why does Wolfboro run the program in Tuftonboro rather than Tuftonboro?
Well, again, I think they've been doing it, I think they've been successful, I think they sell out.
Yeah,
We don't have the instructors. I mean, my goal is to say, yeah, you're gonna use our facility pretty much, go ahead, but in return, we're gonna get, the equipment to my
okay,
kids
so
program.
they have the staff,
Yeah,
that's,
yeah.
yeah. And I know, my other question is, you had talked about running a little kids program
Correct.
with sunfish or whatever.
Right.
Is that something that is on the horizon for 2022 or?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely, yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
So, and have you got a plan for that or?
Well, the biggest plan is an instructor. I mean, if we
Yeah.
can get that guy to convince him, and he's, when I emailed him about the outrigger canoes, I said, we do need an answer on whether you're gonna instruct. He says, let me think about it, see if I got the time, so.
Down, yeah,
That's the biggest thing. You just can't have,
yeah.
Cammy running the
The shoreland or,
silver program.
yeah, I mean, most likely.
But maybe she could, I don't know. Maybe she could.
I definitely could not.
Okay.
Chip could, but he might not want.
I'm busy.
The procedure to bring an alternate member into the commission is the same as bringing a regular member?
Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's
Is
all.
there
Yeah.
a reason why they need to be an alternate as opposed to a full member?
We have an alternate member, and the guy was at the last meeting, and we actually, to have a quorum, had to have one guy on the phone. So, that alternate member, maybe you spoke about it to me at the last meeting, how there's other committees that do that.
Right.
So, we have a gentleman in mind to just to do.
Who doesn't want to be a full member, just wants to
Yeah.
be an alternate?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, that's it on the update. Want to get into the budget, we will.
Yeah.
The commission approved it, I was at the last meeting. The basic overall budget basically has gone up about 9,000 from the previous year. And both Diane and Kathy been a big help. Number one is my salary. And I'm not sure if it was 15 hours or 20 hours a week, but we're trying to figure that out. And the step we put in for the 2022 budget brings it up to 19,406.40. My only question is, it really is gonna, if we stick to that, like right now, I think we need $3 more grand to finish the budget even at my salary.
So you need 21,000, or is that what you're saying?
No, I'm just saying, if I create more activities and more programs, that's probably gonna go up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I just don't know if you want me limited or, again, I think the biggest gap that we've had over the last year and a half is kids programming, and a lot of it was COVID. And I think once that opens up, it'll give me time to do some more stuff, but, that's a decision you guys have to make on that. And I think, come the winter time, right now, we'll still have the gym program, but, the hours will definitely decrease, come November, December, January, so. That's probably something to think about. And I think that was, 15 hours a week. And, all right, swim coach, again, we're not having a swim team, so that would go to 0. WSI basically is 2 swim instructors for the swim lessons, and we put that at 3,000.
Do you have those lined up, or is this just a?
Have the what?
The swim instructors?
Well, we got one, and still we need another one. And like I say, Hannah did a great job, just pretty much overworking both morning, afternoon, and night to satisfy our 26 kids that did that. So the goal is to get one more instructor. The support staff we talked about, and you pretty much gave me permission after I was complaining during the summer of picking up, you know what, on the beach. And so we're looking to, and again, to be honest with you, I'm looking for a retired guy to come in and maybe do 2-3 hours a week, just helping clean the beach.
Right.
And that would include cleaning the docks, because that's a favorite nesting place. So that would be an additional thing we haven't had in past years, the support staff, 2,000. And I think that's $15 an hour for pretty much 2-3 hours a day. And some days you go, and it's not bad, but like I say, every other day this summer, I raked the beach, and other days it was more of a cleanup thing. Town of Wolfboro, again, you know, I'm dead against that, but it stays the same.
We haven't paid them.
Say it again, Chip?
We haven't paid them.
No.
Have they billed us?
No, they normally bill us right around this time of year, I think. Based on last year. Somewhere in November we get the bill. So, I mean, I guess that's the same, I guess.
I think somehow we gotta try to reach out to the parents. I don't know how we're gonna do it, but we need it. We need an accounting of who's doing what. The lady came, but the numbers she gave us are very vague.
That's all I asked
I wanna
for.
know what we're really doing.
That's all I asked for. Again, it was based on the 2010 census.
It may be a hell of a deal, but who knows if we can't. And the only way I can think of it is the parents tell us somehow that, okay, my kid's doing this year or whatever.
All I can tell you is this, when she sat in front of you, she told a different story. She told me straight out, we're not getting our money's worth. And when she got in front of you guys last year up at the house, she changed it too.
Well,
So,
she would.
and again, Guy, I agree with you 100%. You know, if it was $50 for resident, 80 non-resident, we owe that $30, that's fine.
Sure.
But add that all up at the end of the year, it might be 6,000, it might be the 16,000, I don't know. But you're right, we should be, with computers and stuff online.
I don't see how it's that difficult, that's all.
I agree with you.
Yeah, I'd rather.
I know, we're gonna pay them, yes, we already decided that, but going forward, I just think we gotta do better, that's all. I just wanna make sure that we're not paying for something we're not using, that's all.
Yeah, I mean, I would sooner, if we were gonna continue to go down that road, put $10,000 in that, stop calling it the town of Wolfboro, call it recreational activities, and put another $3,000 in the support staff. And if somebody wants to go to Wolfboro with their kid and play tennis or whatever they do down there, they just tell us how much it's gonna cost and we pay for it. I mean, I think it would be a lot less money than $16,000.
I do too, but again,
Yeah.
the accounting of it is the hard part.
Again, that's what the director said, you're right, Chip. All right, lifeguards equipment, we just decreased that to 500. Although we don't have lifeguards, we still might need to buy, you know, certain things, whether it's first aid stuff or shirts or whatever. The beach and wharf toilet, she went up last year and she might go up again. So we boosted that $500 to $3,500. I think the good thing is we talked last year about portalettes down at the docks, and it looked like the restaurant, the new store down there put 2 of them in the parking lot. So I think
Yes,
that covers that. The old home days we put in at $3,000. The concert, basically all that.
So we budgeted $3,000 this year, we have spent none.
No, we did. And that was a funny issue, because I went to Diane in September and I said, I got the update through September that don't show anything, you know, from old home days. You know, we had, and then she go, and then I waited, she goes, well, maybe it's late, so let's see. Go back in October, still nothing. So the issue was this, the reserve fund paid for the bands and paid for the reimbursement for the town picnic to me. And
Okay.
we caught that, so it really don't show that we used anything. But if you look at it.
So it came out of the Parks and Rec Fund.
Yeah, the reserve, yeah.
So,
And that won't happen again, is it?
well, what's the matter with spending, I mean, spending out of the Parks and Rec Fund is fine.
Yeah.
So so what you're suggesting is instead of spending out of the Parks and Rec Fund, that we spend out of the budget.
I think it's more realistic, to be honest with you. I mean, the other good thing that come out of it is that we have a town credit card, and I gotta go through Jack. If I buy trophies for cornhole or, you know, $400 for the town picnic, I can use that now, and my wife is very happy about that.
Yeah.
But you got.
So
Go ahead.
if you use money out of the rec fund for the Old Home Days activities. So where would that money have gone otherwise?
I mean, how would I have paid for the bands and
No,
stuff?
no. I mean,
It's
the
sitting
money,
in
the
the
money
account.
that's in the rec fund.
Yeah.
What do we use it for?
Reimbursing me.
For things like Old Home Days.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, you've got Old Home Days at $3,000 and concerts at $3,000. So you got $6,000 there, sitting there. And part of that's gonna come out of the rec fund. And that-
it's just like the concert. We had 6 concerts, and I got 6 checks from Jack. So that
Right.
would come out of roughly $3,200
Right.
out of the reserve fund.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you look at the concerts, the only thing we really, you know, I go out and I raise the money for the bands,
Right.
so it's kind of a wash.
Right.
Is the detail officer, and we had a couple big banners displayed, the
So,
sponsors and also.
so where did we pay for the police details from this year?
It's a long story. The original plan again, and I'm against having even any officers, we know that, but you guys feel different, but I have my opinion. Secondly, they said if it was a Tupton Row officer, it would come out of the police budget. And I had talked to you about this during the summer. So the first night, and the chief had told me, if it was, they're down a man, they have to get an outside officer from Wolfboro, it would come out of my budget. Fine. First night, Tufton Row officer shows up. I said, oh, beautiful. The chief shows up. And I said, Chief, hey, thank you. Now, you know, it's not out of my budget. He goes, oh, yes, it is. I said, fine. So then we get to the point that if I go raise $3,200 for the bands, and I gotta pay another $2,000 for police officers, you know, that's an issue. I mean, 4 hours at $75 a piece, to me, is way too much. So it's your decision to have a police officer, whether it's local or out of town, so I had to put it in the budget.
So where did we pay for them from this year, is my point. Right. We decided we want a police officer there, and we
Right.
decided it needed to be a detail because we don't have the staff to have somebody there all the time.
Right.
Okay? We have one officer on duty, and that officer has other things they should be doing.
Mhm.
I know they're happy to be at the concert, and if they get called out for an emergency, that's one thing. But there's other stuff that on a normal basis, they should be doing.
Sure, yeah.
So standing at the beach, instead of doing that, is not providing the normal function of the police department. That's
Mhm.
why we said, use a detail. So I still don't understand where, I know we bought some details this year.
It didn't come out of here.
It didn't come out of this line, so where did it come
I
from?
would get a bill,
Yeah,
I would sign the form and turn it into Diane.
so where did it get charged?
I did my job, I don't know. I don't know whether it got charged. I would just get the bill, whether it be from Wolfboro or from our chief.
Right.
I would sign it and give it to Diane. So I'm not sure.
So we,
Well, I mean, I'm fine, I'm fine with budgeting money in your budget for the police detail for the concerts.
Right.
But part of that is, we gotta make sure that
Comes
we
out.
charge it in here,
Yeah.
Yeah, right now, there's nothing.
because the concern that I have is, this year, we know we paid for them, okay?
Where?
And we paid for it with taxpayer dollars,
Mhm.
but it doesn't show up here, so
Exactly, yeah.
it's hidden someplace else. So,
It went somewhere.
yeah, would you grab Kathy?
Yeah.
Real quick, so
Okay.
we can have her at least part of the conversation here.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, going forward, it's all a matter of accounting, basically. It's gotta be accounted for somehow.
Mhm.
And on this budget, it's not.
Right, and
So how many
this,
concerts are there?
Or will there be?
How many concerts were there?
We had 4, 2 rained out.
So let's say you
so,
have
so,
4.
so you had 6 planned,
Yeah.
right? So if you're gonna budget for details,
6, how many hours of concerts?
Well, they get this, roughly around 6, and they have till about 8:30.
So 2.5 hours.
Yeah, but it's a minimum,
It's a minimum of what?
4 hours.
Okay, so 6 times 4 is 24, right?
For a police detail.
right?
Yeah.
Done.
So we're talking about police details for the concerts.
Yeah?
And Dennis said he slips in that got paid for these details this year, but nothing shows up, so it went someplace else. Is there any way to,
You turn slips in.
I'll get a bill from whether it's be the Wolfboro Police or ours. There's a form I make out where it goes, sign it, and give it to Diane.
Mm-hmm.
so do we,
She should have paid him out of the account.
yeah,
You
so
wanna check and see.
if there's a way you
Run
can
a
go back,
report.
yeah, go back and see, because nothing was charged to the
For that long.
Parks and Rec.
That's a new line. We just added the special
Okay.
detail one.
All right.
Because you didn't have one before.
Right, so did it get charged to the Parks and Rec budget, or did it get charged someplace else?
It should have got charged to the budget, but I'll go check and see where she
Would you?
charged it to. Sure. And, did you wanna know about you said she wanted to know about the concerts too? Do you know how that
No.
was done?
The police detail for the
Okay,
concert.
For the concert,
Right.
yeah. Okay, I'll go pull the records and check.
Thank you.
Sure.
So if we were gonna budget for police details,
Yeah.
and you're gonna take care of the banners out of your own budget, 6 concerts with a minimum of 4 hours is 24 hours at $75, it's $1,800. So
Yeah.
that's a more appropriate number for that line.
Well, I didn't tell you I want to go to 8 concerts.
Well, you can want to do any number of things. Then
Well,
maybe
8 concerts would put it at what? That's why we put $3,000. So if you go 8 concerts, $75 an hour, minimum 4 hours.
you're adding 600, so you now at $2,400.
Yeah. And then the banners were roughly 500 last year, so that's $3,000.
Well, while she's pulling that, let's talk about, let's just keep going down.
Okay. yeah.
Recreational areas, you budgeted $6,000 this year, you spent $3,700.
Mhm.
So is there more?
There's bills, I guess, for the picnic benches coming in. There's bills for the electrician coming in. So that could be pretty much, the difference. So we kept that the same.
All right,
But some of that, I mean, you're talking about infrastructure, talking about electricity, and you're talking about picnic tables. You don't replace picnic tables annually.
No,
So is it your expectation you're gonna expand the?
well, I think we could, outside of the new sign, the fence, putting in the volleyball court, the 16 bags of cement, stuff like that, I think all came out of that too, so. You know, for the punt, pass, and kick, we had to line the field, and it's that upside down paint, you know, and
Right.
you buy 8 of those, and that's $80, you know, so.
Yeah, I'm just
That's
wondering
not-
whether or not $6,000, if you,
Is enough?
No. Well, so one of the things we look at is the historical
Yeah,
expenditure. So we go back to 2016,
yeah,
2250, then the next year, 2017, 550, $2,000 in 2018, 3,200 in 2019, 5,300 last year. Your budget is 6,000 this year, and maybe you'll spend that. So I think where you're going is, some of what we're doing here is improving the infrastructure in the facilities. And in the 6,000 for next year, are there some things that you have planned that, because the expenditures, a lot of the expenditures this year are one time, right? The electrician did work this year.
yeah.
He's not gonna be doing that work next year.
Right, right. I just think if it's there, I mean, like, there's tons of stuff I'd like to buy. But, you know, I'm using the school's gator balls. I mean, we just built, you know, 12 cornhole boards. I mean, so I think as we progress and as we get better as a, you know, a Parks and Rec department, there's gonna be things we're gonna be buying. So I think that's there, with maybe no specific thing right now, but yeah, we need a tug of war rope, we need this, we need, you know, things at the beach. I mean, one big item I know we're facing is, could we replenish sand? Both beaches need sand. You know, a lot of the sand, especially by the walkways, turn into rock. And I was told every 7 years you gotta do that. So I just think that fund is there, not,
So you gotta be careful with sand on beaches,
yeah,
okay? We can't just go and dump sand on
right.
the lakefront beaches.
You gotta go through Jack for anything like that. He's gonna
Yeah.
tell you exactly the rules and regulations and how to go about it. As long as you do that, you should be fine.
Yeah.
Don't do it without going through Jack, you got trouble. That's the way that works. That's how it is. I don't necessarily like it, but that's what we gotta live with.
Yeah.
And we will.
Yeah,
That's
the
all.
permit they had for the new wall at the 19 Mile Beach was allowed for one replenishment of sand, that's it. And the other ones, you have to get a state
so we just
permit.
have to go get a different permit.
You gotta get a new DES permit.
There's always,
Correct.
Yeah.
yep, there's always something.
Yeah.
Okay, so Kathy's back.
Yeah, it was taken out of membership dues and fees, that's what you requested
Okay,
on your slips.
So you're $281 over in membership dues. and fees.
So that's why that's so high,
mhm.
because the only other fee we
You
have on
had
that
one
is.
for $180 and one for $225 that came out of that account.
No.
So where did the other two get paid? We had 4 concerts.
But you didn't have,
Well, you
I
might-
think when Chief Shigori goes down there, he didn't charge you if he was there
Yeah.
on duty.
Right.
Okay, so that was.
I don't know unless, did you
Yeah.
pay Wolfboro sometimes? Because I can look
There
up
was one
Wolfboro.
local guy once, and then it was Jamie, I think, twice, and I think the chief once, yeah.
I'd have to look up Wolfboro's
Yeah.
account, but you didn't take it out of this.
I know you.
This one's
So
only
if
had
the chief was
two.
there, we didn't get charged.
These were September.
Right, he said he wasn't gonna charge you. It's gonna come out of his budget.
If he was there
Right.
on duty.
Because on membership and stuff, the only thing we belong to is the state recreation board. that we're
Right.
on, you know. So, yeah, that's where it would be then.
And how much is that? State
Well, we opened
recreation.
a new account to cut so that we can trace that, the
Okay.
police
Yeah.
and the.
Correct.
All right. I'm ready
So
to go.
membership dues and fees, so a fee would be a
Right,
detail officer then.
okay.
Correct. And you-
And the docks, beach and dock maintenance,
Yeah.
you got $2,000 for cleanup and now you've got $2,500 for what?
the beach and dock maintenance, the biggest issue is all our hardware is gotta be replaced. It's both Jim Beam when he did it, and even Zach. If Mickey Mouse everything to get the thing over, he goes and Dennis, he says both.
All right, well, if we're gonna talk about something that's gonna last for, I guess that stuff's lasted for 15 or 20 years. If we're gonna talk about that kind of an action, we need to get a plan together, we'll put a warrant article together. I don't think it's appropriate to put it in the operating budget.
Well, again, I think Jim being so busy, you know, we convinced Zach to take over his duties, which he's happy about.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he come to me, he says, can you put any money extra in the budget? Because we gotta go down to the tractor store and buy hardware for this, for that.
Rather than Mickey Mouse in the deal, why don't we come up with a plan? You know, rather than changing the shackle here and a cleat there.
Yeah.
If we need to
You mean
change,
like a-
if we need to change out all the hardware, and it's gonna cost $5,000. So then we present it as a, this is something we're gonna do.
A one-time purchase.
Right. And put it on the warrant and
Yeah.
deal with it, and it doesn't add noise into the routine maintenance.
So that's the town meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're pushing your operating budget, and that technically isn't, it'd be like putting a cruiser in the police budget. You're gonna bump the police budget by $50,000 for 1 year. You know, it doesn't make any sense. That way I have capital budgets, which is the warrant article for capital expenditures, things that last a longer time. They aren't bought every year.
My only question, what if it don't go through?
If it doesn't go through, then
Then you don't do it.
then we nickel and dime it again and try again next year.
Yeah.
But the,
You still have to be, because of the bedrooms, it's still bedroom.
you're already up 15% on your operating budget. You're up 100% over 2015. That's a hard hill to climb, right? When you're talking about a budget committee.
Yeah.
I mean, it's better if we can incrementally work this, and if we need a big capital expenditure. I'm not sure there's ever been an operating warrant article for Parks and Rec. I don't
Yes, there
remember.
has. It was done by petition to replace the playground equipment,
Okay, that's
and
right.
it's passed.
Yep.
So there has been one, for
That was a
sure.
warrant?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see,
Neither the selectmen nor the budget committee thought it was a good idea. The lady put up a petition warrant article and it was voted yes overwhelmingly.
and I don't see the town pushing back
No,
on a
no.
$5,000 or $10,000 capital improvement to Parks and Rec for the docks.
Right.
Or the rafts, or whatever you call them.
I think you got a real good chance of this.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if we took
So I
that,
would do that, I would present that, or write it, I'm new to that.
No,
we would, I
Guy can work.
could help you
on
with that. It's
Yeah.
very simple.
Yeah.
We'll write it up, we'll get it down here, we'll look it over, we'll make any changes, present it to DRA when we put our warrants in. They'll tell us, okay, it's a good warrant article or it's not, or we need to make a change. It's quite simple. Basically, it says to see if the town will vote to appropriate
Yeah.
X amount of dollars for it, blah, 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 blah,
the
blah.
biggest part of it is a plan.
Yeah,
And if
Right.
you get the plan together, then
It's
Guy
easy.
defends it
Yeah,
at the
very
town
simple.
meeting.
Yep.
And you
Right.
don't have to get up and.
You
So,
don't have to say a word.
so the piece that's missing at this point is you're being able to say, this is what we need to do, and this is what it's gonna cost. And here's what's in that $5,000, $7,500, whatever. Not, we need some hardware, we need this, we need that. You know, it's, okay, we have to build some new float sections or buy some new float sections or whatever it is. Whatever those costs are, we gotta put an estimate together.
I understand. So would that 75 go down?
Yeah,
Take it right out completely.
well, I don't know if
Well,
you take it out
so-
completely.
so
Well,
you-
we still got people that have to,
Well, when you
Right.
get into beach maintenance, you're talking about hiring support staff to do that beach maintenance, aren't you?
Right.
yeah, but they're not gonna put.
So the
No,
beach
but dock
maintenance,
maintenance and beach maintenance are different things.
But I mean,
Right.
you spent $1,225. I don't imagine you're swimming now.
No, we didn't get a bill yet from Zach.
all
Okay,
right.
but let's say it's
So-
$2,500.
Yeah,
Now you're at,
and again, you know,
So
he's-
in 2018, we spent $14,000 in there. My guess is that that $14,000 included
a bunch of the stuff that you're talking about now.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so replacing float sections or whatever, and I don't know what that was,
Mhm.
but, you know, typical year
Is there a typical
is,
year? Is there a typical
no,
year?
no, it's
Doesn't appear to be.
kind of all over the place.
So you need to figure out with Zach, what it is that needs to be done. And what you gotta have to do it.
Yeah.
And that's how you write up your warrant, very specific. But your chances of getting that passed are very good. People want to use the floats, they want to use the beaches, they want to do this kind of thing. How much we can take out of $7,500 there, I don't know.
But what I'm saying is, I mean, you can't reduce that to zero, there's still gonna be people that are putting them out and,
Right, right,
Right.
so
But it's 3,000.
we don't have a good understanding of what goes into each of these lines you have here. So that would help us out too, if you could say,
so it'd be,
here's what beach and dock maintenance includes.
yeah.
You know, putting out the floats, putting out the swim lines,
Yeah,
whatever that is. Now, beach maintenance sort of is gonna go back up to the cleanup guy, right?
he's just, yeah.
Beach
cleaning it up.
cleanup,
Right.
But when talking to Zach, we included him moving the benches and putting them back out, doing 20 Mile Beach, you know, Melbourne Beach and 19 Mile Beach. And the figure I come up with is 1,500 from out, 1,500 back in, so $3,000.
That's the figure I came up with.
Huh?
So that line item should be $3,000.
3,000, yeah.
So if you put that at 3, your old home days at 1,000, and your concerts at 2,000.
You think to deduct that to
you're
2,000?
58,967.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, I mean, you've got, if you do 8 concerts, and you have to detail all of them, that's $2,400.
Yeah.
If we put $2,000 on that line, you can find $400 in your Parks and Rec.
Mhm.
That's what I'm saying.
All right, so we're gonna take that down to 24, to
So
2,000.
that would be okay, in the garage, the whole garage.
I mean, the old home days, we roughly spent 1,100. You know, trophies for the boat race, picnic 400 and something, band 500. But again, my opinion on old home days is we didn't involve enough community groups and other stuff going on to use that $3,000, and,
So that's a whole,
but we'd like to.
that's a whole nother discussion. So
Right.
Yeah, I mean.
going back to when we started doing Old Home Days, it was an ad hoc committee that
Yeah.
came together to do it. Included a number of people, including the chairman of Parks and Rec at that time.
Right.
So since you've been here, you've kind of done it yourself.
Yeah.
And so it's taken on a different
Right.
feel.
But I don't wanna do it that way.
Well, so you gotta step back and let the
Oh, yeah.
let the group
Like I
step up.
told you, I called the antique car guy 4 times, never got a return call. Okay, so,
Well, so I happen to know him very well.
Yeah.
I haven't asked him about it.
yeah,
So there's something that's disconnecting there,
Yeah.
okay? Anyway, that's, as I say, a whole separate
Right.
thing. Old Home Days was paid for, whatever was paid out of the Parks and Rec fund,
reserve fund.
the revolving fund. Right, it's not a reserve fund, it's a revolving fund, takes money and spends money. I'm happy leaving it being funded out of there. I don't know what that money's used for other than that, right?
Well, again, when we talked last year budget-wise, all the other little things I do, whether it's Easter egg hunt, Valentine program, Thanksgiving program, that's all coming out of that fund you just talked about.
Right.
Well, I
Okay.
mean, ideally, but they should be budgeted items, whether it's $400 for, you know, Halloween or,
But what do you do with, what do you do with the Parks and Rec fund if they're all budgeted items?
so why did we allow 3,000 last year
What do you mean?
for old home days? Why did we make that a line item?
Because you convinced us you needed $3,000 to make
And
it happen.
then you didn't
And I'd
use
like,
it.
and I'd like to take that and use it again and improve on the program.
No, and I'm not saying that we zero that line out, and I don't think Bill's saying that either.
Yeah,
What we are saying is that the town budget, this budget, is gonna accommodate for certain things. It's not gonna accommodate for 100% of your expenses. Because at that point in time, you've got not a reserve fund, but a
A
capital,
revolving account.
a revolving account that's inactive.
Mhm.
And we don't have any access to that money. I mean, there was a time when we used to take money out of there, but we found out we weren't supposed to do
right.
that.
So, year ago, we bought into, you need $3,000 as part of the operating budget for Old
Right.
Home Days.
Right.
Fast forward a year, you spent none of it. And you're saying you need it again, but you found the money someplace else and it happened to be out of the revolving fund.
Mhm.
And so whether it's right or it's wrong, it worked.
Right.
And if that's preventing the revolving fund money from funding something else, that's one thing, but I'm not hearing you saying it's out of money.
Yeah, I think we need to.
I don't care where it comes from, as long as it comes,
We need to,
to be honest
I
with you.
think we need to audit that
Yeah,
account, because
yeah.
that's not an account that comes before us.
That's right.
And if it runs short, then obviously the town will fund the programs you want to have funded as best we can.
Yeah.
But our feeling is if there's money coming in from the concerts or whatever,
So having programs be sort of self-funding is great, you know?
Mhm.
If people make contributions at the concerts and that sort of thing, and it helps pay for it, that's terrific. I mean, the users are the people that are getting the benefit. And the town is not, is not resistant to using tax money to do this stuff,
Mhm.
but if there are other funding sources,
yeah, you gotta
That's great.
consider this opportunity funding.
yeah.
We're funding an opportunity for people to participate. If they do, and they contribute, then that just helps you build your program.
But it seems like unclear on that reserve fund. Like, what if I didn't go out and raise
It's
3,500?
not a reserve fund.
Whatever you call it, revolving.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm using the wrong term, but what if I didn't go out and raise 3,500 to pay for the bands, and it comes out of there? Well, how much is left? I don't know.
Well, you should know.
I don't.
Well, you should.
You need to inquire.
Yeah,
Okay, we'll find out for you.
right.
But that's a report that you should be asking for on a
Monthly basis?
monthly basis.
Mhm.
So that you can, I mean, you need to report to your, or Guy, you're on that board, right? Guy can ask for that report.
Yep.
I mean, your board should know what that
Yeah.
accounting looks like.
Okay.
And
Right.
and how
So
it's
it's just
affected. 'Cause
talking
I
to
re-
Jack, the treasurer, and saying I need,
Right, you need a report.
Right.
yeah.
Because I remember when I was on Parks and Rec for a short period of time, and looking at the revenue generated with the concerts, I'm thinking we have 15 of these things could be rocking and rolling.
Just
But
to help.
I was thinking of, in terms of that money funding other things, but it has to stay all in the Parks and Rec, so. But at any rate, your food
Right.
concessions, what are they paying you?
To what?
Food concessions.
There was PTO, they didn't give us anything.
Okay, well, you can't let people do that. If they're gonna sell
I was
things
trying to
and
help
make
them
money-
out, believe it or not.
Well,
Because you know what, we're all in the same business of helping kids.
right.
We work with them, they work with us. So I threw them a bone. So I didn't have to be back there.
But now you can ask him, okay, you threw him a bone for nothing. Now you can ask, what was the revenue? What'd you make? And be honest. He's gotta be honest with you. And say, okay, well, 10% of that needs to come to this, needs to come back home. You know, some portion of that needs to come back home. Because you're giving him an opportunity to make money.
Mhm.
I mean, if you lost money on the deal, he isn't gonna wanna do it ever again.
No. So as far as my budget, the changes were made. So just be clear on that. The concerts, we're gonna bring down to $2,000. Concert detail and banner, right? And
Right.
you're saying I gotta find $400 somewhere else.
Or not. I mean, you might get Tuftonboro PD to do 2 of them, and then you don't have to raise any money. You got money left over.
So the old home days, we're putting at 0,
No,
No.
1,000.
We said we'll put 1,000 in,
1,000.
right?
Right.
Okay.
And
Um,
beach and dock, we're changing to 3,000.
Yeah.
What the beach and walk toilets?
the beach and dock maintenance,
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
all right?
And then if you need hardware and parts, we're gonna put it on as a warrant item.
right.
So I keep putting that at 3,000.
Right.
So
So,
that puts your whole, I'm sorry, Bill.
and it's still not clear to me what recreational areas does that's different than beach and dock maintenance.
I think it's a combination of maybe program supplies and maintenance projects, I'm guessing. The signs
So
that we
you
just put up, the
spent, you
fence.
spent $3,700 this year, you don't know what that was for in that line.
Yeah, I do. I mean, we had, the guy fixed the fence, the guy put a sign up. All the stuff and lumber that we put up to display our banners, the cement for the volleyball court. So that's kind of like a maintenance stuff and program supply stuff. You know, trophies for this or awards for that. So it's kind of a mixture. And to be honest, I wish it was two separate things, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
You know?
It could be that you need to,
I mean,
we're not gonna do that this
If I'm gonna
year.
go buy a trophy or a basketball or whatever, what does that got to do with me go buying something, you know, to fix the fence
If I
or?
might ask,
Yeah.
do you know where you got your lumber and your concrete from?
I either get it from the hardware store in Wolfboro or the one in Pasaki lumber, yeah.
Okay. The town has an account, Skihan Lumber, for example.
Yeah.
I don't know if we have one at Wolfboro. Do we have one at Winnie Lumberjack?
Account?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, I buy
Okay,
stuff there.
so that should be easy enough to track. We should be getting bills from them.
We do, yeah.
Yeah, so,
But
I can tell.
if you historically,
Mhm.
that line, recreational areas, is that where we're at?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 2016, you spent $2,255. 2017, $546. 2018, $2,074. 2019, $3,189, and last year, $5,259. I think 5,000, we can take 1,000 off of that line easily, and now be approximately flat funded. We're at $57,000, $57,967 is what I counted. So I'm gonna recommend that number change to $5,000.
So the 6 down to 5.
Yeah.
And that total number would be,
57,967 is what I've
Okay.
got.
So pretty much the same.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So you look like a hero,
right, the budget committee will go, hey, man, wow.
but you're
They
actually
will.
doing more work. So I'm gonna make a motion that we approve budget 4520 Parks and Rec at $58,967.
50, what?
58 or 57?
$57,967, I'm sorry.
I'll second the motion that the budget be approved at $57,967.
All right. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
So the next step,
It's the budget committee.
Budget committee,
That's tomorrow night.
is it tomorrow
I
night?
don't know if they're on the schedule. Yeah, well, that's what it says.
What's in
It
it?
doesn't give a date. It says the first and
No, I
third
don't think,
Tuesdays.
I don't think,
No, I thought he pushed it off.
I hope you didn't.
but this budget isn't gonna be for tomorrow night, because they wanna have at least a day to look at it before they
Okay.
meet.
I'd like to make a motion of a 2-minute break to allow me to attend to a bladder issue.
That'd be fine.
Thank you. I'm a little worried about it. I gotta go.
all right, gentlemen.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Hey, I do have one other question. This is easy. You got the flag flying down at the beach, right?
Yeah,
Is it lighted at night?
there's a light that's still not done yet. There's a light for it, but it's not hooked up.
Okay.
Who's the complainant?
Hmm?
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah, somebody
Wasn't
mentioned
there.
it. So
Yeah,
until the light's hooked up, the flag should not be flying at night. So, I mean, intent is good, but anyway,
yeah.
that's,
There
It
is a
wasn't
light-
there.
there is a light pointed at it, but it's not hooked up yet, but I'll take it down.
well, or hook the light up.
Yeah. There you go, Christian, that's,
That's why we need money. So this is, that's done.
All right.
I don't know if the time's appropriate, but I am prepared to present the cemetery budget at any point in time.
Is that the next one?
No.
The next one's building, but
So,
Is John
Let me know.
still here?
yeah, so why don't we invite Jack in?
I'd like to invite you in on behalf of the Board of Selectmen, Jack. I believe Jack has accepted the invitation.
Yeah. But we don't, do we have a sheet for him?
No, because
It's just a report.
Here's the, estimate for the AC at the townhouse. If it remains split like that, which would
Yep.
help tremendously if you have an issue with the pellet boiler in the middle of the night, you can throw a heater on for at least a day or two before it
Yep.
gets fixed. But
Chip?
Yep. 10 grand.
you have to put Wi-Fi on it too, so they can check it.
Okay.
Calls me up at 2:30 in the morning, it says, "Oh, hello."
okay, so
Much better than that.
down. Fuels it's
So why do we not end up with worksheets on this?
Yeah, I don't see anything.
It doesn't have the salary in there.
'Cause they don't
Right.
know what it
Right,
is,
but
so.
we usually have a spreadsheet that says Town of Tuftonboro budget on it,
Yeah. So,
and a history. And
all right,
now
so
I have
here-
no idea. How much is it up, Jay?
It's not up at all.
Not at
Okay.
all.
All right.
So it's
Except
not
for the
gonna
salary.
Except for the-
Yeah.
Right. Oh, flat budget except for salary?
Yeah.
be. Sure.
And then the thing is that my truck's gonna need tires, so I have gonna have money left over in fuel, I think probably $300.
Mhm.
But I don't wanna change the fuel budget for next year, because obviously more fuel's happening.
Yeah.
And then I'll probably have $100 in office supplies. Okay, and then vehicle maintenance, I'm gonna have some left in that. So I think I have enough money. I have to talk to Andy, because he knows how to do the state bid for the tires.
Mhm.
So I want to get tires. Either I can get them this year, if not the first year, but I want to carry some of that money over just to,
All right.
see what I'm talking
If you
about.
buy them and store them in the basement until you need
Well,
them.
Whatever, no, I'm gonna need them, I just
Right.
telling you that's why
So
some of
we
this is
need
left
to
over.
know before the end of the year.
Right,
Exactly
how much
what
you
it
wanna
is.
hold,
So,
yeah, income or
if,
whatever.
right, so if you got your tire thing ready to go at that point, then
Yeah.
we can encumber that money.
Right.
And we're all set.
Yeah, I just got, anyway, I got talking to Andy and see what the
Yeah.
state bid comes from. It
Yeah.
could be Northern Tire, it could
Yeah,
be Sullivan
anybody.
Tire, it could be whatever.
Yeah.
But it's a huge discount to go through the bid.
Great.
It's ridiculously discounted, so
So it should be that your revenue offsets your increase in salary.
probably it's pretty
That's what it
much.
looks like. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Do we want to wait until we get the salary number to approve it?
I think we need to, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
otherwise
I
it's a
didn't do
wild
it,
guess.
so-
Right,
Yeah.
right, so,
Well,
yeah,
that's fine, great, yeah,
so,
Okay.
all right.
thanks.
So
And
I don't know if you got the information for, I had some other work that was done on buildings, the walkway and all that. Did you get that?
I haven't seen
For
it.
the building maintenance?
We don't have the,
No.
All right.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
I have to know the numbers including that too, so fix the walkway out front, some other stuff.
We've got you, Reval, and the cemetery trustees, and that's
Right.
it.
Okay,
So I think, well, let's try and do this one next Monday, at our next meeting.
Yeah, because we're gonna set
The
the.
building budget, we'll
just do the salary.
we'll have salary stuff ready
Yeah,
by
that's
then.
fine.
Yeah,
I didn't put anything in there because I didn't want
right,
to just throw a number, I'll pick it out of the,
yeah,
Give yourself a nice.
here we go.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
If you'd like to take a paid cut, you could probably put the number in right now.
You leave it the same, you want, but yeah.
Wait a minute.
Enjoy what they do.
These do not say I don't care. You do care.
I do care,
Because you wouldn't do the job if you didn't.
Right,
I worked all week, actually, to tell you the
Oh,
truth.
these are done, Jack.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
People call the desk phone and says you're on vacation, so they call my cell phone anyway, so that's.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, they say, I'm in Bermuda. What can I do for you?
Yeah. All right,
Everything else going good?
playing catch up, but yeah, it's going good.
Good, good.
All right,
Let me
Right.
go- So is that, cell phone, they're asking for a building permit. That's not our cell phone tower, so is it? That's
No,
not-
that's the one on,
That's the
it'll
one on-
help us out a lot, but
Yeah.
it's not ours, no. The
Yeah.
other two, they're not gonna do till next year, they said.
yeah, it'd be,
It's just their rent starts when they ask.
Yeah,
for
yeah,
it.
exactly.
right.
All right.
So, yeah, I think I mentioned last time, probably April is based upon what they were saying when they be ready to go, because they gotta get all the design work done, go all through all that stuff.
It's gonna be a tree, huh? Looks like a tree.
No, it's a monopole, I don't think it's gonna be.
Well, it's monopine.
Oh,
So it's-
monopine.
Yeah,
They're okay looking, but if they stand up high to anything else, look at sore thumb. You know, it's like the one in Baltimore on Red Hill, they
Right.
go drive by, wow, is that thing ugly?
There's one
Yeah.
over in Loudon, it's the same way. It does
Yeah.
not look like a tree.
It would better off if they just painted the poles, kind
Paint
of
it
flat color
Yeah.
and green,
Yeah.
you know, something.
They don't
Sky
have
blue,
color,
so-
just
They did one
disappear.
in Salisbury, Mass. That was actually a freestanding rig tower and actually painted it blue and it went away.
Yeah.
Yeah, the trees aren't great.
yep. They're popular though. Yeah,
Yeah.
All right,
all right,
what's next?
let's go to cemetery budget.
Okay.
Cemetery budget is exactly the same as it was last year.
Okay, so,
You can ask me any questions.
yep, so as I look at what we've spent so far this year,
Mm-hmm.
we've spent $12,300 and change out of almost $30,000.
Yes, sir.
And I'm gonna presume that the balance of that is gonna be spent between now and the end of the year.
That is our intention. We, for example, have not had a bill from our cemetery maintenance man in 3 months, which we're going to be getting. We also have a lot of tree work that needs to be done with cranes. We have spoken with some people about that. Getting anybody to answer the phone or to call us back has been problematic. However, we would hope to have, at a minimum, some signed contracts so that we could encumber the funds by the end of the year. We also are looking at doing some hydro seeding out here in the townhouse cemetery to replace some of the dead grass that True Green burned up on us in a drought a couple of years ago, and then the turkeys decided to eat up. We're waiting back for a reply on that. We're still looking for a sexton, so we left them our money, $1,000
So-
in the budget. Yes, Chip?
The tree work is gonna come out of maintenance, right?
It would be both maintenance and old cemeteries restoration. Some of those trees that need to come out are in old cemeteries, for
Yeah.
sure.
So,
So by flat funding this budget,
Yes,
your estimation is that you're gonna need to keep whatever's money left in 2021 encumbered? Or are you gonna spend, I mean, how much more than $12,000 are you gonna spend on trees? That's, I guess, my question. Or do we just let it roll and,
at the moment, I think we have to let it roll.
yeah?
But when cranes are involved, the cost goes up sky high. And unfortunately, over the years, especially in what we call the old cemeteries, trees have been allowed to get way out of hand.
Yeah.
And some of them are really hard to get to. Some of them we have to cross other people's properties, but we've had really good luck and good response from folks about letting us do that kind of thing. So it is our fervent hope that we will be able to get that work done this year, but if not, we'd like to have the signed contracts from the tree people. Again, as you know, help. People moving into the area, everybody is outrageously busy. So we decided we would just flat fund this budget request. And all we can do is hope. If we aren't able to do it, we'll have to put the money back into the general fund. There's no way out of it that I can see.
So I'll move budget 4195 cemeteries for $29,961.
And I'll second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Now, some of the crane work can be done by climbers.
Yes, and we do have a climber, and that's one of the things we ran into, especially with the cemetery we have on Federal Corner Road. He can climb the trees that are outside the cemetery, and the homeowner has no problem with us getting rid of big branches and things that are overhanging the cemetery, but he doesn't have the wherewithal to take care of the giant pines that are growing up in the middle of the cemetery. So you need a crane and a climber. That's the problem. You can't drop these giant pieces. I was just actually witnessing one that happened Friday afternoon up on Durgan Road. Some giant pines, 3 feet at the bottom, and 5 of them came out. It's a neat thing to watch, but the climber would not have been able to do anything other than cut. It would have been a disaster. So that's really the deal that we run into, is that we certainly can't have anything falling into the cemetery.
Right.
Damaging, so.
Right.
Yep.
Cool.
All right. Next budget we have is reval.
Yeah.
So,
And we
and we just signed the,
agreement.
So
yeah,
I guess we approved the budget.
so I'll entertain a motion on the
So I'll
assessment.
move revaluation of property 4152 at $48,396.
A second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Is that all our budgets for today?
I think it is.
Yes.
Yep. All right. So let's move on to action items. So one of the action items is the health contract, right? And you've been working on that. You want to speak to
So
that?
we finally got our numbers from Health Trust. The current benefit plans and rates are 8.1% lower than last year, with a savings per month of, let's see, 27, 92.
Looks like $2,100 a month.
2203. Times 12. So a total savings annually of $26,436 over last year's insurance costs.
All right. So I have the renewal contract in front of me. That's just looking for one signature. So I'll entertain a motion to approve that.
I'm gonna move that we approve the renewal on the Health Trust contract for health insurance for 2022.
Yes, I will second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, next action item we have is the cost of living adjustment for salaries.
Hoping to do that.
So, I think, did you put this in everybody's,
I have all that, yeah.
okay, so,
I was looking for a report.
you're looking for what?
Is this what I was looking for?
All the benefits? Yeah,
And this is 2022. Okay. So we've got a total,
so the bad news is that the cost of living in the Northeast, which is what we have keyed off of the last number of years for our adjustment to our pay scale, 4.6% this year. That was up from, last year was 1.3%, I think it was.
okay, so that's,
So,
let's see what the real, one. One, 2.7. Why did that happen? Because of the retirement. So, 229 versus 212. Two 245. Right. So the actual increase, when you add everything together, is more than 4.6, even though we had a reduction in health insurance.
right,
That is driven primarily through the New Hampshire retirement system, which had a more than 4.6% increase in the town's contribution. So we've got what is the, we have a total change year to year of $31,295 for our total personnel administration spread throughout the budget. So 31, 295.
I'm sorry, 31,295, and where do you,
Well,
Your time.
what I've got $2,013,056 for a gross. Do you have these sheets? I'm
Yep,
sorry.
yep.
So the 2022 numbers, 2,013,000.
$56, and
Right.
this year is 1,981,
Right.
yep,
I'll
okay.
do the math again, maybe it's different.
No,
2,
I think you're doing fine.
5, 6 minus 1,761. No, it's 49,000 that time. Maybe I should have a professional do it.
so I come up with 31,295, is that what you had?
That's what I had.
Yeah,
Okay, so
yep,
forget this then. So a total change in cost to the town of 31,000, which is significantly less than
1.6%.
Yeah. And I think, what's the other?
So I will entertain a motion to approve the pay table effective January 1, 2022, including a cost of living increase of 4.6%.
I'll second that.
What is that total gonna be?
The
Well,
total,
total without any increases for step and grade is $2,013,056.
That's with no increases for step and grade.
Right, but it does increase for COLA.
That includes the COLA.
yeah,
And the
Yeah.
insurance.
And
And
yeah,
the
right.
retirement and all the rest of it.
Yep, I'm just trying to get this
So
straight
it's a
down here.
gross increase of $31,295 year to year.
I'll second.
any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, now everybody can plug all this stuff into their
Well,
budgets.
Yeah, anyone that has a personnel line, yeah.
Yep,
Yeah, good. Get her done. It's actually better than I anticipated, to be honest with
yep.
okay, so do we want to talk about steps? Because it appears as though you're going to be adding 2%. I think that's what a step is.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm not sure anybody's expecting it, but, or do we want to leave it up to the department
I
heads?
think we leave it to the department heads. It's what we've done in the past. And it's a provision in the pay system, but it's obviously not an automatic.
you. Right.
Right, okay. So, that's not too bad.
No,
I mean, if you're looking at, that's the biggest number in the budget, it's $2 million. So if it's only $30,000 different, now we've got some flexibility. I don't have to be quite so hard on a road agent, maybe, so I'm gonna continue to try to be as hard on them as I can.
Well, on that note, he's not asked for an increase in that line that says road agent, so
no,
I gotta give him credit
No,
for that.
but, you know,
I do understand, we have to have accounting, better accounting, that's all.
yeah, I'm sure he's not losing money at the deal. And, I mean, we're renting mountainside, but his rental rates are stellar. They
Yes.
have no complaints about
Right.
that.
and if I remember correctly, they're the same as they were when he first signed on.
I wouldn't doubt it, I wouldn't doubt it. So,
All right,
but they're still profitable rates.
yep. All right. So I think we've made it through all the action stuff here. And go to correspondence. So, email here from, with respect to Union Wharf, back and forth with Counselor Kenny and
Right. You
Tyler
had a
Phillips.
separate one with
So-
Tyler?
Yeah, and I never got that email. I had a conversation with him. And where this whole thing stands is because a grant and write hasn't been done in a long time, they went to the AG's offices to make sure that what they were pursuing was the right way to do it. And there are 3 different values that they can place on the grant and write. One is nothing, one is $1, and one is something that represents something associated with a value.
So when we meet with Counselor Kenny and Renee Pelletier, we need to, that needs to be one of the things that's addressed. Tyler also suggested that we have the Conservation Commission involved because, of course, we need a DES permit
Impact.
to do the work. So Conservation has a role in reviewing that. I've not had any conversation with anybody on that. And there was he asked the question about the abutter, if the abutter was, if we were engaged with the abutter, is it related to what we were planning to do? Because of course they certainly have a voice in, not in determining what gets approved, but anything that goes, as you know, anything that goes to the governor and council, any member of the public can stand up at the hearing and voice their support, opposition, concerns, whatever. And typically what happens, GNC, is if somebody stands up and says, well, I don't like this because of such and such, or this, that, or the other, you don't get your decision that day. You may not get it at all. But so Tyler's recommendation to us is we want to make sure we have all of these pieces adequately addressed before it actually goes to governor and council. And I haven't had any contact with the guy next door. Bought John Sims' house. You know what?
Yes, Repetta's old house. Never mind, you didn't know the Repetta's. I'm sorry.
No. Yeah, but that house
I'm
is
not
long
sure,
gone.
I don't know where the line is, I'd have to look at the line to see
Exactly, right.
if we're up against it or impacting it.
I think we're close to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, close to the property line. So that's where
I
we
mean, I'd
stand.
be more concerned about other activities that might come rearing their ugly little heads,
Mhm.
so. And there's no conversing our way out of any of that.
Right.
I'm not certain. I don't know, we'll have to see what happens. But I think the issue of, whether it's worth $1 or worth $1 million is really the first question. And the state didn't pay anything for it, and they haven't
Right.
put any money in
Right,
it.
so.
Having done
I mean,
nothing.
Right. So I guess my thought is, we'd like to do it for $1,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'd rather do, excuse me, I'd rather do it for $1 than no dollars.
Right, exactly,
Then
because you want to have,
ownership interest at
right,
that point.
right. You want to have compensation change hands. So that's where we're at. I will reach out again to Tyler. Again, I didn't know until I saw this one back this morning that he sent an email to me. He went through the town web portal or something, I guess. I never saw that, but my recount of that conversation is incomplete. He can put it down on paper much, much better than that. But all of the ducks are pretty much getting lined up to move this thing forward, so that's,
Good.
That is a good thing.
Visit the pricing
yep,
before.
yes, we do, or it's just not gonna run. All right, so email back from our auditors regard to non-lapsing of warrant articles that says that once it's encumbered, it's fine until the end of the contract. It doesn't need to, we don't have to keep re-encumbering. Town of Wakefield, ZBA variance application notice for a cell tower, 120-foot tall monopole, Province Lake Road.
Carroll County Commissioners meeting agenda, their budget timeline, their minutes, a quote on document shredding. My understanding is that Chief Shigori is working toward getting that lined up for this year, get rid of his stuff and our stuff. Letter of appreciation to Chief Shigori from the Police Standards and Training Council for his help with the police academy. I guess this is recent help with that. More Carroll County meeting minutes and agenda. That's all I have in correspondence. Did I miss anything in correspondence? No. All right. So, on to the administrative secretary updates. Okay, still getting rat checks. Yep. We did hear from the Conservation Commission that they are getting the surveyor lined up to do the subdivision work on the property up on Sodom Road. I should have asked Dennis about this flyer he has out promoting the use of the beach on Cow Island.
I
Right.
was gonna bring it up, but I didn't want.
I brought up the grill with him
Yep,
when I saw him on the sidewalk.
yep,
I told him he's gonna have to get some white out, so he's aware of that. I
yep,
said, it's not, although you may see it as a decision we were making, it was really the fire chief that drove
right,
that.
that's right. Yep. All right,
So I'm sorry, which line?
huh?
What lining?
Where it says Park Grill,
Park grill.
Oh,
fire pit with benches, hiking trails, fishing, swimming, boating.
Cross-country students. do really-
Yeah, really, winter time. All right. The co-op wants a list of questions regarding the pole placement, so I will try and put some detail together on that.
They're gonna move some poles?
No, we're asking them why they put them so close to the road
Yeah.
up here. I did have a conversation with a guy that was setting a replacement pole up here a couple weeks ago, and he said they try and set them 5 feet from the pavement. And I pointed out that, I said, we had one set that was broken in a storm a couple years ago that was actually closer to the pavement than the old one. He said, well, he said, sometimes, it's in the middle of a storm and, we're doing our best to get the power back on. Anyway, so we have, I would say, at least a dozen poles up on the center section of Sodom Road that are way, way too close to the pavement. And they're easy to identify because they got big plow gashes in the side of them.
Oh, really?
And those are poles, in my mind, that need to go further away from the, now, part of it means some trees are gonna have to come out or some branches are gonna have to get cut back, but it doesn't help the pole, and it certainly doesn't help the highway maintenance to have those things hard onto the
Right.
pavement like that.
Well, I can vouch for the one basically at the end of my father's driveway, which has now been hit 3 times in
Yeah.
my lifetime.
Yeah.
One was on black ice, and probably speed related. The other 2 had to be speed related, but that is ledge right there.
Yeah,
And if they could find a place to dig a hole without drilling and blasting, they did well. Whether they can set it back farther or not, I don't know. But it took 3 days to cross my father's driveway with an underground telephone line as they jackhammered across it.
uh-huh,
So that may be an
Well,
issue at any
it
point
may
in time,
be.
I don't know. But
Right.
it's definitely something they might run into. Yeah, there's a lot of them close.
all right. And the next item she has on here was the FEMA notice that they're having a flood insurance rate map review. there's a meeting on Tuesday, October 26th at 9 a.m. So, this is it's a virtual meeting. I will put it on my calendar to sit in on this. Hey, Jack,
Yeah,
FEMA flood maps,
yeah,
is that something we need to be,
I have them right here.
yeah.
Are they upgrading the town or?
So they're having a virtual meeting on reviewing them next Tuesday?
Okay. I didn't get anything in for an email. You
Yeah,
did.
well, Cammy, would you give a copy of that to Jack? I mean, I'll try and get on their Zoom meeting, but,
You can have my.
all right. I don't,
Nope, keep going.
I don't know all that much about it. If it's something that typically in Tufton Borough is something we have to key in on, or is it
It's more about.
Is it sort of
Jack
perfunctory?
and
Yeah.
planning board.
Well, I also know that there are residents whose flood insurance is impacted by this.
Yes, there are.
I
Yeah.
was copied on it, but I don't remember seeing it.
Hmm?
So I was copied on it, I don't remember seeing it, so let me see.
Yeah. Yeah, all kinds of people happy. Anyway, I will, try to remember to jump onto that. All right. Selectmen's updates.
I think we covered everything I've worked on this week.
Okay.
We had a budget meeting last Tuesday where everything seemed to go through except for the emergency management budget, which Adam wasn't there.
And they had questions about?
Yeah, I'm not great with questions. And I couldn't be as specific as he could be. They weren't really upset about the numbers so much as they were about the information, which they weren't getting from me.
Yep.
There was I need to review the capital reserve funds that are kicking around, whether they're undesignated funds or whatever other capital reserves we have. I forget which one of them. It might have been Gary James that was looking for that information. And I didn't get into why or any reasoning there. There was confusion or concern or debate about a second ambulance. And I couldn't figure out what they were talking about, but I guess it was at the CIP meeting. There was talk of replacing the ambulance, but it sounded like a second ambulance.
It was talked about replacing the ambulance and keeping the old one.
So it would be a second ambulance.
It would be a second ambulance.
Yeah.
Although the old one would not be the primary one that we use, it would be available if necessary.
At any rate, I said none of that has come before the selectmen.
And you're absolutely correct.
And so I'm not willing or able to talk about it. They were concerned about wages, insurance, and all that sort of thing, so I think we can refuse that.
Say,
And
this is where we're headed.
Yeah, it looks as though we're gonna bring the budget in where it needs to be and still be able to work our magic with the warrant articles.
Yep.
I mentioned setting the tax rate, but it doesn't seem that we're able to. We don't have the county, but they said that was gonna be this week, county money. And we had the school.
That I don't know.
Okay.
So
we
I
had the
talked
school
with the school board chairman about it last week, when I saw him, and he said, I think you guys have what you need, but he was gonna check with the business office. Anyway, every year we go through this dance of,
Right.
and what I mentioned to Diane is, just start chasing this stuff, because by the end of October, we wanna
be setting the tax rate. We don't want to be dragging it out. And if there's something that we need that we don't have, and we're at the middle of the month, let's start
Hounding,
hollering.
become a pain. Make
Yeah,
it work.
to get the information, because otherwise it puts us behind the 8 ball and getting the year-end tax bills out.
Right. And that would be another discussion I have with the budget committee. If we can get the tax rate set, now how does this current budget impact what we foresee to be the tax rate coming out? And Gordon was funny. I had actually gone off and looked at little towns all around us, what their debt structure looks like, and he was amazed at how little debt Tuftonboro has. And we really do have very little debt. We can really pay it off this year if we wanted to.
Well, we are fortunate. It's not accidental,
No.
but part of what we don't have any municipal utilities, and a number of small towns do, and that's where an awful lot of the debt comes
That
in.
does help. I mean,
Yeah.
help with increase the debt. Yes,
Right.
it does.
Right.
Right.
All right,
Uh-huh.
for you, sir.
So, CIP committee would like the selectmen to attend their meeting on October 20th at 7 p.m. and present our capital projects, so to speak, if we have any. They really want to know when we're going to start work on Union Wharf, like we know.
Yeah.
When we're going to start work on the River Road area, like we know. And when are we going to build the police station, as if we know. If you two don't want to go and present as a board, please instruct me with all the information you can, and I'll do it myself. But
I don't, what time of day is it?
it's 7 p.m. at night.
On Wednesday.
Yep.
Okay, I'll be there.
All right.
And that's up at the
At
townhouse.
the moment, it's scheduled for the townhouse. The last meeting was at the library because Jill was informed that the townhouse was going to be in use, but nobody used it. I don't know what happened there. But should be at the townhouse.
Okay.
If it changes, I'm sure I can get a hold of you somehow. Smoke signals.
All right, I'll put it on my calendar.
I'm meeting with the Conservation Commission tonight. I somehow had a senior moment and did not attend the last meeting. I apologize to them for that. But I had met with Parks and Rec, as Dennis had mentioned, and tried to explain a number of things to him. That's all I can think of right at the moment.
Let's see, the only thing that I have had going on that I remember since our last meeting is I spent another increment of time perambulating the Tuftonboro town line. We're almost done, but we have a couple more points to locate. As I mentioned before, there are several of the monumental points that the monuments are missing on, and when we finish and put our report together, one of the things we're going to be recommending is that we hire somebody to install new monuments, because what's there is fine, but you know, how many of the monuments do you let be gone over time before you finally recognize you got an issue? So I think that's the only thing that I was working last week. All right. Is there any other business? Did I miss anything, Cammie?
Nope.
Do we have a card there? What's that all about?
A what?
This?
Oh, it's
It's a thank you card for
to-
Camp Belknap.
Oh, okay.
You all would sign
All right.
it, that would be awesome.
Do I always sign? I hardly ever sign it. But I'll sign it.
Any other business?
I have a couple comments,
Yes.
and with Lloyd sneaking in the back door. First one, early in the conversation tonight, you were talking about signage and the proper correct names. I didn't hear you mention it during the course of this meeting. Were you going to introduce that, or did the selectmen already know about it?
The selectmen already know, I did it at the last meeting.
Okay, thank
You're welcome.
you. Chip,
Wait,
do we know for sure where the next budget committee is going to meet? And if there's gonna be any changes?
oh, where?
Yes, where?
My understanding is they're gonna continue to meet up at the townhouse.
That's what you said last time. And you showed up here with me and nobody was here.
Well, no, somebody told me the meeting was here. What?
Oh,
last
somebody
time.
told you, right,
And
that's
the
right.
rest of
It should
was
be up there.
It should be up there. That's
I'll
where it's-
double check and let you
it's
know.
going to continue up there?
As far as I know.
Okay, I'm just asking the question.
Yeah, it's the only place you can really socially distance, and they like it up there.
Well, that's almost you these days, I mean, where everything's going. Okay, I just wanted to find out. I will check the website, okay, again, or try to, and then we'll play it from there. Thank you, that's all I got.
Good.
Hi Lloyd, how are you?
Hello, fans. Fantastic.
What brings you by?
I had a conversation with Guy.
Oh. Okay.
You want to summarize?
Would you like me to?
Well, you took a look, so
Lloyd brought me his pickup truck, which he had had refurbished by Lakes Region Automotive, I believe it was. I looked at the work, the invoices, they did a great job on the truck. The premise, I guess, would be that it might be possible for us to refurbish a police cruiser, for example, rather than replace one. I can only say that the work was done in what I consider to be an excellent manner. The truck looks wonderful, including under the hood, and it's something worth considering. Is that pretty much what we talked about, Lloyd?
what was the amount I spent?
The amount on that truck was $6,112.21.
Wow.
I also redid my Ford Contour, it's a 95, for 11 grand, brand new car. Glass, everything framed.
Super.
And I've seen a number of police cruisers and fire trucks over at this place. Some in bad shape from accidents.
And are they prepared to give us estimates? And we'd be dealing with the warrant articles.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it looks like, or sounds like,
Well,
I haven't seen a police cruiser come across the desk for next year, but I'm sure there's gonna be one,
Yeah.
Sooner or later.
so.
All right.
thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right. We don't need a non-public today, I don't believe.
Nope.
So I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
I'll move that we adjourn this meeting.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.